All right. Welcome. Welcome back to the second half of the launch party for Beyond the Surface Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Wanda J. Evans-Brewer, and I'm here with my co-host, Paula Hawkins. Paula, say hello.
Hello.
We did have some sort of audio snafu, so the first half of our interview, something happened where it did not get saved, but, you know, when you get lemons, you make lemonade. So we're moving on, and we're going to continue this discussion. Where you want to pick up on, Paula? Or well, I guess we should kind of recap
a little bit.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you want to say? What do you want to ask?
Okay. One of the things that we talked about your book, talked about 1 Corinthians, why you choose that.
1 Corinthians 13.
Yes. Why you choose that passage in the,
this discussion.
Why did you choose this that passage in the book in the Bible? Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay,
quick.
What I said in the first segment was that I use 1 Corinthians 13 because it really is God's complete definition, authentic guide for what we should be looking for in love. Mm-hmm. And it's very clear that love is patient, love is kind, love doesn't envy, it doesn't boast, that it doesn't keep a record of wrongs, it's not easily angered. There's a lot of things that if we actually are asking ourselves when we're partnered with people, if we're in a loving relationship, if we kind of went back to 1 Corinthians 13, we would know if we were giving love, we would also know if we were receiving it.
Absolutely.
And then the most important thing was I really like the fact that it makes clear that love never fails, that we are never doing a disservice by loving anyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean necessarily that the relationship will stand. As you mentioned earlier, the book was dedicated to my god brother, Kevin Larkins, my godson, Tyrese Larry, and my extended family, LeBrandon Hickey, who plays so many roles, I can't really encompass him into one thing. But those three men were very diligent in being patient with me, answering questions, allowing me to bounce ideas, explaining some of the nuances and the overt ugliness of and the rules to the game, the changes in the rules to the game of dating. So I was able to run those things through them as I was out in the dating scene after 13 years. A lot had changed, technology, just the sort of deceptive things that can go on with just a cell phone. Just changed how people relate to one another. Social networking sites changed how people relate to one another. And there just seemed to be a very ugly spirit, like sort of the promotion of not really committing to anyone, not really being truthful, and investing more energy in deception than commitment. And so they were able to help me sort of walk through a lot of that as I, try to discover my own womanness again.
Okay, absolutely. 13 years, I guess so, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to hit you with the mud puddle.
Puddles.
Real
You asked me about mud puddles.
Wow.
I think a lot about Sojourner Truth. She's
Okay.
probably one of my favorite abolitionists, and we don't talk enough about her. She's an abolitionist. She was a person that fought for women's rights. But at the end of the day, what makes Sojourner strong to me is that, she was a woman. She was a woman. From what I understood, she stood like 6 feet, 3 in her stocking feet, just from the particular tribe that she came from. And, that speech that we talk about, Ain't I a Woman, was a real speech that she shouted out to a group of abolitionists. Well, it was like a women's right kind of gathering to say, hey, look, I matter. My hurts, my pains, what happens with me matter. And so I always remember Sojourner when I'm gauging myself. She talked of her children being taken. She talked of not really having a man help her, assist her. And she worked she was a laborer. She worked as hard as anyone. And I really feel like a lot of her spirit is with me. So, that's one of the posters I keep around. I always keep my Sojourner Truth with me.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to talk about Coupe de Villes.
Coupe de Villes.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, Coupe de Villes is probably one of the most important poems I've ever written. I actually wrote it impromptu on the spot to LeBrandon Hickey, one of the people that I devoted, that I acknowledged in my book. Mm-hmm. And what's important about Coupe de Villes, and I am going to read this to the readers, is that people, we know that you can't deny sexual attraction.
Right.
If you see something beautiful, it's beautiful, and it is human nature to respond to that. But there's a time that men have just gotten perverse, where they act as if their mothers, their grandmothers, their daughters don't notice them, cocking their head, making little calls, catcalling women, making lewd comments. Just all of this stuff that's like, it's unnecessary. Like, I see beautiful men and women going every day. I like beautiful things like the next person. I mentally acknowledge it. It's sort of that Reese's kiss for the day, and I move on. And so it was my argument, fight. It was a place of contention that we had. And I said, look, you don't need to do that to admire something beautiful. So I'm going to share with you Coupe de Villes. When they brought us, they placed us naked, completely exposed on an auction block. While white men in white wigs and buckle boots took their times taking looks, pointing at our parts, private and all, in an effort to decide who was fit to farm, fit to cook, fit to screw them. And you were forced to watch, unable to defend the woman, mother, sister, friend. Now times have changed, and to our shame, you ride with baby girls in Coupe de Villes, making catcalls, spinning heels, with craned necks, seeking out any and all passing asses. Measure breast appeal, view panties through x-ray glasses, write songs about that thing, following that thing to the mall. You, like them, want it all for free, because you see no real value in loving me and protecting. From fire-filled loins and lava lust, your balls stay in a constant state, ready to combust. You gyrate your hips with your children near. Stop talking in mid-sentence if a new ass appears. Keep a lookout on the regular for the all-nipple review. Can't even focus on dinner on me and you. Call yourself daddy, brother, and man. You can't even stand and look at the sky without occasionally hoping that an ass-shaped cloud goes by. On the auction block, they got to see heads bowed low in misery, sadness seep through eyelids and confusion. Humiliation was not an illusion, for people viewed as not having a soul. An inanimate object, poked, prodded, and sold. The process was simple. Stand her up and stare at her nipples, her ripples. I'm sorry. Her belly, her thighs. Never consider her eyes, even though they are the mirror to the soul. Not interested in what they hold. Don't consider her emotions, just watch her grow old. Vets show great sexual devotion beaten down. She'll follow the rules, lacking love, she's easy to use. For your fantasy and penis flexion, look out, there's an ass coming in your direction. Wouldn't want to block your glance. It just might be your last chance to introduce her to the auction block. The new method of dating, which eliminates all possibility of relating. Placing the importance of below-the-neck mating, minimizing our daughters down to tits and splits. There would be no place for her mind to exist. And like those beneath their powdered wigs, she's open to the best bidder, the one that wants most to get right in her and fill her with hate from centuries old, making our girl babies weak and our boy babies cold. When they brought us, they placed us for us all to see the possibility of breeding me. Look how much we've changed.
Bravo. You are an excellent writer. I love your thoughts. I love the way you took the words and talked about how people view each other. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So,
well, I'm saying more than that, though. I'm saying
absolutely.
that the same sort of picking at the prodding, the looking at, the studying, the obsession with, because what you're saying is there's no human value here.
Absolutely.
I don't value you as a human being. I only see you as an inanimate object. And that I compare to a lot of the catcalling, that, it comes off almost the same way. That, it's the ultimate insult that you should at best see a woman first.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't take away beautiful hips, beautiful lips, long hair, fair skin. It doesn't take any, but it doesn't take gawking and stopping in mid-stride and yelling out, especially with children and your elders. Just some of the behavior's just gotten way over the top.
Absolutely. Because I remember when you was texting to your friend Kevin, asking him about the what was it statement? Surface. That's why the reason of the book was Surface Dirty. How men's view women's, or how they can size them up and say what kind of relationship they're going to have with
Well,
them.
I asked him. Like, the question was, there was a young African who said that, and I met him at a party. He was interested in dating me, and in the process of dating, he explained to me that most men decide within an hour what they're going to do with a woman. Like, they know if she's wife material, if that's somebody they want to see occasionally, if she's somebody they would dip off with, if she's just a heated night of passion, they already decide that. And I really struggled with that. I said, I don't believe that most men do that. He said, you can believe what you want to. This is true. So, I ran it through my god brother, and he said, look, I call it surface dirty. And so I said, well, what is that? What is surface dirty? And he said, it's this, it's what a man sees in a woman based off of what she's presenting at that moment. So it's a superficial assessment. He doesn't really have anything to go by but what she's presenting. And so for me, that was overwhelming, because what it said is you need to be careful about what you're presenting.
Absolutely.
What you're saying, how you're conducting yourself, double talk, whether you're being fair, all kinds of stuff in that exchange. So, for example, if a gentleman gives me a compliment and he says, oh my God, you're a pretty lady, I'd love to have lunch with you, I know that I'm a married woman. Mm-hmm. So really, it doesn't matter. That exchange needs to be limited.
Absolutely.
Once he says that, so that means if I need a painter and he says, oh, you're a beautiful lady, he can't paint for me, because he's already made up his mind that he has a greater intention, and it's not to paint for me. It's not to work on my car. That's very, very clear.
Meat in the meat market, huh?
Well, but also, listen, and I'm not punishing men for that. See, what Kevin gave me was, he gave me power, because what I needed to understand was that men have a nature, and he talked to me, very diligently and openly about a man's nature, that he's not really doing anything wrong being a man. It's not wrong for him to shoot his shot. It's not wrong for him to walk up and say that and give it a chance. But there are two people in this exchange. Mm-hmm. The women have to be appropriate. The women have to have an idea of how far they're going to allow something to go. That most of it, they'll play off of the woman's energy as opposed to us playing off of their energy. That we give them the cue whether or not they can conquer us or not. Okay. And I hate to use that word conquer, but there is a lot of conquering in it.
Okay. Also, I love this part when you say a woman's prayer.
Yeah, I had to pray to God. I had been married for 13 years, and although that wasn't the marriage dissolved as a culminating result of infidelity, I had been faithful in the marriage. The reality was it was a passionless marriage. I went through a lot of years where, because the infidelity started early on. And what happens with a woman, and most men don't know, is that there's a piece of her that just dies. That you will, whoever that girl was that you locked eyes with, that y'all used to jog together, that would, sew your clothes, get up early, buy the extra gift, she's gone. Like you are hard pressed to ever get her back. Now, it'll be a woman sitting there, and she'll do a lot of the basic things that you want done. But that girl, that innocent, naive, I'll do anything for you. It's kind of like, I always think about the Fonz and the girls that would circle the Fonz and look all starry-eyed at the Fonz, that there's a piece of that girl in every woman that falls in love with a man. Mm-hmm. So that girl checks out. Mm-hmm. And then who shows up is like Irma Bombeck. It's almost like, just like this mean old hag or this cynical broad shows up, and that's pretty much who you with. So, yeah, some basic things stay in place. You may still have intimacy. You may still be able to function as business partners, be friends. But that thing, and see, it's in that area that excites us.
Is that no-fly zone?
Well, it's that area of when we first sparked that really excites us. Mm-hmm. So when you kill that with infidelity, it's gone. So yeah, I wasn't able to be. I had hid the woman in me. Mm-hmm. So some of his needing to get out of the marriage, when I reflect back, I understand why he had to go. Mm-hmm. I wasn't able to be that girl. I didn't look at him goo goo gaga eyed. Half of the time before he could finish a sentence, I was already bored. And some of it was just sad.